What's going on, my PT peeps? I'm Walking Dead family, my fighters. I'm One-Eye Bri, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 13, titled JD. Spoiler warning for all things Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 13 is a good episode. Another good episode. Continuing the form of Season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead. It's good stuff. Callbacks, connections, setups for next week's episode. Man, I'm excited for it. If you haven't seen the episode, definitely come back after watching it. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, guys. Show some love and support so you don't miss out on our daily videos. Now, the episode focuses on June, and the title of the episode is JD. So it's June Dory, John Dory, and wait, John Dory Sr. So there's 3 JDs in the Walking Dead universe. Well, I guess Fear the Walking Dead. But JD is on the gun. It's definitely cool to see John's father, even though it's sad that John's not around. But it starts with June going back to Morgan's community. And Morgan doesn't care for June right now. He's pissed off that June left to go make a hospital. Where if she was here at Morgan's community, Grace's baby would have survived. So it looks like Grace's baby was stillborn. Some people are wondering why wasn't the baby a walker? That's super cheese in my opinion, so I'm glad they didn't do that. But either way, June is not really welcome here in the community at the beginning of the episode. Grace is upset. You see her at the very end of the episode for like 2 seconds. And I have to say, they used the church for like everything. A holding cell for Dakota, Virginia, Daniel. Grace is hiding out there. When in doubt, go to the church. So June leaves the community. She goes to Tanktown, well, right outside Tanktown. And there's a walker here. It's all burned up. June kills it. There's some writing on the street there. The end is the beginning. And I have to say, these people are just tagging up stuff left and right. The end is the beginning. The end is the beginning. The end is the beginning. We get it. The end is the beginning, right? Well, June kills the walker, and you can see the end is the beginning, right? So I'm not harping on the story. I'm just saying their slogan is everywhere. Well, June is here, and she's going to look at the note and read it. She doesn't read it at the beginning of the episode. She reads it later on. Dwight follows her, or followed her to Tanktown, and he was worried about her. He was also on guard duty right there at the beginning of the episode when June and Morgan had a fight and June left. But then this guy's shooting at him. And we're like, who is this dude, right? Well, you see Dwight, Sherry, and June. As this guy, turns out to be John Dory Sr., is shooting at them. They're hiding, taking cover, and Sherry came with Dwight. Sherry is looking for gas, and she's not finding it because she wants to get a vehicle to go after Negan to go back to Virginia. Dwight shoots at some walkers, and Sherry shoots at the old man. June wants him alive to get answers. The guy goes away. Sherry and Dwight are taking out walkers that came because of the gunfire, and June goes after the guy, which turns out to be John Dory Sr., John's father. She comes across the RV, breaks the window, gets into the RV, and sees all these different things on the board. Photos, notes, just everything connected with the end is the beginning people, because this person, John Dory's father, John Dory Sr., is connected with Teddy, and he wants to solve the case. Now, we knew this was a possibility happening, that Teddy was a mortician, a serial killer. It's just confirmed. And people are like, we knew that so many episodes ago. Well, it's just confirmed now. We finally have confirmation on it. It was a theory before, now we know. And John Dory Sr. talks with June and asks if she's with them, but she's not. She talks about an orchard that he missed, that she was going to go take him there. And that's where I believe Teddy is taking Alicia next episode. But June is driving the RV to the orchard, and then she decides to stop because John Dory Sr. is giving her attitude. And then she stops, takes out the gun, points it at him, and he's like, where did you get that gun? Because I'm John Dory. Well, she's like, why does it matter? It's my gun. Because it says JD on the handle, and that's his gun. He's the original John, well, one of the John Dorys, because it looks like that name is passed down for many generations. John Dory, John Dory, John Dory. So JD is on the handle. June Dory meets John Dory, so John Dory lives on. A walker gets tangled up in the, I don't know, underneath the RV, and John cuts his hand or burns his hand or something. So they're walking. They come across a walker that they kill. And John Dory Sr. knows it's one of Teddy's because of the embalming fluid, and John Dory Sr. knows all about Teddy because he put him away. So John's story earlier in season 6 is coming back around. Everything gets a return, which is great. Sherry is freaking out with Dwight, and Sherry's just kind of annoying. But she's doing this because she wants to leave and go after Negan. And I'm like, okay, she's going to go back to Virginia and we're going to get a connection with Fear the Walking Dead coming back to The Walking Dead. But I'll talk about that later because it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Sherry's horse dies and Sherry just shoots it like it's easy just to kill the horse. She didn't care. So they get on Dwight's horse. They find June's jacket. And Sherry is kind of annoying in the early part of the episode, but she gets better towards the end of it. They come across the RV, John Dory Sr.'s RV. They look at the stuff on the wall and they find out that John Dory Sr. is who the person is, John's father. They see all the different things on there, the missing persons board. And I've had a lot of questions about the women on this board. They're just Teddy's victims. So I don't think they're anybody that we're connected with. Like, oh, there is so-and-so. No, they're just who Teddy killed before as a mortician and, why he went to jail. But ultimately, Sherry tells Dwight that she's trying to go after Negan to just get something to go forward with her life. She's got PTSD. She's not doing well. And look at the symbolism here, right? She's a missing persons. Like behind her is a missing persons board. And she kind of feels lost. She feels like she's missing because of what Negan did. And I personally would love it if Sherry went back to The Walking Dead with Dwight and Sherry killed Negan or tried to. But again, the way the episode ends, I don't think it's going to happen. But June and John Dory Sr. go back to the bait shop. You see all the walkers that were killed there by John Dory, I guess Jr., right? So they go inside and it's again, another callback and connection to season 5, season 6, John, June, Morgan, Dakota, everything. And we're going back here and it's cool to see this. I'm like, yes, continuity. You can see the place. You can see where they were before. You can see that the shelving is still stocked up. So June is going to take care of John Dory Sr.'s hand. John Dory Sr. sees the video rental checkout board and you can see John Dory again. They just keep it up there and the continuity is great. Talks about butterscotch, the sweets, the ice cream. You're like, man, it's just great. John Dory lives on through his dad, through the characters, through the bait shop, through the shack. So John Dory's gone and we miss him, but he's still there in our hearts. June takes care of John Dory Sr.'s hand. John Dory Sr. locks June in, I guess, a back room because he wants to protect her. Because he's going to go to the cabin because that's where they're going to hopefully find Hill, Ginny's last ranger, Hill. And you see John Dory Sr. and June and kind of Sherry and Dwight, they're all kind of connected with the same storyline here, which they're trying to prevent things, get away from things, get away, try to protect people. Like if I do this, I'll save that person or protect those people. At the bait shop, awesome stuff. So John Dory Sr. goes to his cabin. It's John Dory's cabin, but he's John Dory, so it's his cabin. And Sherry and Dwight go back to the bridge. And it's sad for us because you know what happened here. Sherry and Dwight don't know. They don't know about the truck and the walkers and Dakota shooting John right here. We're seeing all the walkers and the red Jeep and the truck. It's just like taking us back. We're like, wow, it's just an awesome callback for a bad reason because this is where John got shot by Dakota. But the truck was John's. Sherry wants to take the truck to go back to Virginia. They can get pretty far, like it's gas in there. So I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing that they actually try to do. But this is the second time a character on Fear the Walking Dead has talked about going back to The Walking Dead, and it's not happening. Because Morgan said it, that he wants to go back, and now Sherry, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen either. But John Dory Sr. looks around the cabin, and he just goes back to there. This is where he left John so many years ago, and he goes outside, and he's got his gun looking for Hill. There's a walker, he kills the walker, and then there's Hill, and he has John Dory's other pistol that he points at John Dory, and it's kind of a showdown between Hill and John Dory Sr. And I have to say, Hill looks the same, but it's not the same, but it's the same actor. Then you see a walker come over to the right, Hill gets punched in the face, John grabs the gun, shoots the walker, and then he wants to get questions from Hill. And Hill doesn't know much about Teddy, he doesn't know Teddy's name, but he knows that they're working on something big, and he's not really helpful. But I believe Sr. says Theodore Maddox. So it's Teddy Maddox. We got a full name. Hill and Sr. are, having their moment here. Sr. gets distracted by looking at the grave. John Dory, husband, friend, and Hill kind of punches him. And Sr. gets shot in the back, kind of where his right hand is, and he goes down. So we're like, oh man, we're going to lose another John Dory. So we're going to lose Sr. and we already lost Jr. because Hill got Sr.'s rifle, I guess. Is that a rifle? But either way, he shoots him in the back. Senior falls on top of John Dory's grave. And then boom, Hill gets shot in the back of the head and he goes down. So Hill's gone. And then you see John Dory is reaching for John Dory's grave. Kind of very, I don't know, what do you call it? Symbolic? Meta? What are you calling it here? But then you see June, Sherry, and Dwight coming to save the day. So June was rescued by these two, I'm guessing. John Dory's got blood on his hands and there's a bloody handprint or fingerprint on the wood. But John Dory Sr. lives. Since June had the medical supplies in the cabin already to try and save her husband, John, but this John lives. So she saved one John, but not the other. And it's sad that we get to meet John Dory Sr. when John Dory, Garrett Dillahunt, he was left by his father. And it's touching about the truck, and it was going to be John's first car. And, you know, it was just all these different moments that it's sad because the father and son weren't reunited. They have a funeral, and it's touching. It was sad. It broke me down for sure, especially when June was reading the note from John. And it's sad because John Dory should still be alive. It's just a sad thing that we had for the story, and I can get why they did it, but it's memorable for a lot of different reasons, and you see the note right here. So this is the last note that John wrote to June, and what are the odds that it talks about his dad, and his dad's right there. But Sherry is taking all this to heart, so she's changing her mind about Negan. When June starts to cry and get upset, I definitely did. I was like, man, this is sad, and it was supposed to be. We feel for these characters. If you don't feel for the characters, then it's like, why watch the show, right? I feel for this guy already, and we just met him. June, Jenna Elfman, does a great job. I feel for all these characters here, except for Sherry. She sucks. No, I'm just kidding. But Sherry definitely is looking at what John Dory Sr. did with his whole life. He spent all this time he's still going after Teddy. And that's kind of what she's doing. She wanted to go after Ginny. Didn't work out. She wants to go after Negan. And she's like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like John Dory Sr. I want to be with you and have it work out. And we're like, yes, finally, this is what we want. We want Dwight and Sherry to be together, which will probably mean that one of these two is going to die. They'll be together. Relationships don't really work out in the Walking Dead universe, right? So is one of them going to die? And I personally think Sherry's going to die. But we'll have to see how it goes down in the remaining episodes of season 6 into season 7. But you see Dwight's getting the truck ready for John Dory Sr. and June to go back to Morgan's community. And June gives Dwight back his rings. If you remember, these are his rings that he gives to John for June. So the fact that she is giving back the rings to Dwight, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to get married? Remarried? I mean, is there going to be another wedding? A red wedding, right? We'll have to see how it goes down because June and John Dory are going in the truck. Sherry and Dwight are going on horseback. We see the cabin one last time. This is probably the last time we're going to see the cabin because of what's left for this story, right? June, John's buried there. Maybe June goes back to talk to John, which would be nice. But Sherry and Dwight go on horseback. June and John Dory Sr. go in the truck back to Morgan's community. So it's definitely a good episode from start to finish. And Sherry got better at the end of the episode, but they go back to the community, which to me reminds me a lot of the Kingdom. I think Morgan is taking a lot from the Kingdom here, which is all right. They got a lot of animals and crops, but John Dory Sr. is holding his gut where he got shot. But John Dory Sr., June, they come to Morgan. And Morgan's in a little better mood here, right? They go inside and they introduce each other, John Dory Sr., Morgan, and it's pretty cool, right? If you met the father of a character that you're friends with. But I have to say, I'm like the rest of these guys. The way John made it seem was like he was dead. And I guess he thought he was because he left. But June apologizes, Morgan apologizes, and Morgan's upset. Grace is upset. They lost the baby. And it's just one of those things where you're like, who's to blame? Maybe June couldn't even save the baby. Grace, like I said, that's where we see her at the end of the episode. She's hiding in the church. She's upset because she lost her child. It's totally understandable. But I don't think it's June's fault that the baby was stillborn. And that's what one of the showrunners said after the episode, that the baby was stillborn. So I don't know what June could have done about the baby either way. But Morgan John Dory Sr. and June, they're going to work together because John Dory Sr. knows about Teddy. He knows all about them. They're going to work together, get to work. Maybe they're going to go to the orchard. Maybe they're going to find out about the submarine. Where are we going? We only have so many episodes left. But that's my early review after watching it early access. And I have to say, it's another good episode. I really enjoyed this episode. So we got episodes 14, 15, and 16. And if the 3 remaining episodes are good, to me, this is going to be my favorite season of Fear the Walking Dead. Season 6 is definitely much improved. And I have to say, I love The Walking Dead Season 6. And Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 is great. So does it take 6 seasons of a show to really hit it out the park? I don't know. But let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. And I believe Talking Dead is back on this Sunday. Check it out on AMC. Thank you guys. Stay safe. And as always, tell them Daryl.